This now reveals his antique face of joy. A sudden disclosure to the heart of grief, tempting to endure and long and hold, tempting to endure and long and hold, tempting to endure and long and hold. This now, what this now? What is that this? Pure, bright, timeless her birth, world rapture in her eyes, faces to the infinite, happiness and beauty, her native ride, endless bliss, her eternal hope. All this now is revealed to her as the antique face of joy, antique, old, very, very old, antique because she is coming from Sachidananda. So that face which is there in Sachidananda is now revealed to her. Antique coming from Sachidananda here. Face of joy. This now revealed is antique. So you see, he has given a contrasting picture. He has put counterpoint in the beginning, and now he is building up the point, so to say. In the musical scale, he has put the pitch down below, down below. Now he is pitching it up. This now revealed his antique face of joy, a perfect iambic line. This now reveals his antique face of joy, a sudden disclosure to the heart of grief. Well, that is what she is there, it's a heart of grief. But now, to the heart of grief, to her, in this condition, there is a sudden disclosure of what? Of joy. Grief versus joy. Joy versus grief, you see. Suddenly she tempting it to endure and long and hope. Yes, you are in this fallen condition. You are in the state of grief. But please endure. Suffer this grief. To endure and long and hope that things will change. Aspire. Be sure that things will tempting it to endure and long hope. This line, tempting it to endure. See, tempting, it could be a trochee or it could be tempting it, dactyl, to endure. I am. Pyrrhic, long. Oh, I am sorry. Tempting, trochee, it to endure, it to. Pyrrhic, endure, trochee, and long and hope. I am. So you have got the first foot is trochee, second foot is Pyrrhic, third foot is I am, fourth, fifth, again I am. Tempting it to endure and long hope. Who is tempting? That antique face of joy. The antique face of joy is tempting her to endure. Yes, you are here, please suffer for a while, because there is a hope for you also, see, to endure and long and hope. Even in changing world, bereft of peace, there might be struggle, there might be turmoil, there might be tempests and misfortunes and whatnot. Even in this changing world, in an air racked with sorrow and with fear, well, this is the and while his feet trod on a soil unsafe, he saw the image of a happier state. He, Ashwapati. Now he's coming back to Ashwapati. Even in changing worlds, bereft of peace. This is the word here. But even in this world, what do you see? Ashwapati. Even in changing world, bereft of peace. There is no peace. There is constant change, turmoil. That is the state of life, vicissitudes, in an air racked with sorrow and with fear. That is the mid-world, life world. And while his feet trod on a soil unsafe, well, Ashwapati is going through this world and his feet are not very safe. He may slip also, but there is something within him which will always make him steady. And while his feet trod on a soil unsafe, he saw the image. He saw the image of a happier state. In spite of, see, for a superficial vision, for a person who is in a hurry to just think, he will see what kind of miserable life here. But Ashwapati sees something different behind all these things. What does he say? A happier state. He saw the image of a happier state behind all that thing. See, that is the preface here he is given. This now reveals the antique face of joy. Revealed to whom? To Ashwapati. To Ashwapati. This now revealed his antique face. A sudden disclosure to the heart of grief. It could be also to life herself proper. It could also be to life herself. Life who is suffering, she herself is seeing that sudden thing. A sudden disclosure to the heart of grief, to the heart of grief. To the heart of grief, that is suffering life. A sudden tempting it to endure. So that would be more for the life proper. To the heart of grief, you see. But now this one, second sentence is definitely for Ashwapati. First sentence could be, but I will not say it is for Ashwapati, it is more for life. Even in changing worlds bereft of peace, in an air racked with sorrow and with fear, and while his feet trod on a soil unsafe, he saw the image of a happier state. He sees something different. That is the eye of the yogi. Only a yogi can see that kind of a thing. For the superficial vision, it will be all misery and suffering, but behind that misery and suffering, there is a joy only a yogi can discern and feel and understand. In an architecture of hieratic space, in the whole design of architecture of hieratic space, this now reveals the antique face of joy. This life which is suffering, which is miserable, which is also happy, which sees the depths and heights, which swings through various phases of life, good and bad, fortunes and misfortunes. That life now sees that she is actually somebody who has come from Sachidananda. Antique face of joy. Old face of joy. After all, in a verse, a long period has lapsed between her presence in Sachidananda and her appearance in this cosmic play. There has been a long separation. In other words, the whole work of transformation, the whole work, cosmic work was going on continuously. What could have been between that long period? Antique phase, you see. In other words, there was a real big gap between the life as it is in the present state and life as was there in the earlier state. There must have been a big... So what that gap was for? What was happening during that gap of time, you see? During that gap of time, before this life appeared, before lives appeared, during that life of time, there was the formation of the subtle matter, perfect forms, what we have seen. All those things are happening constantly. See. This now revealed this antique face of joy, a sudden disclosure to the heart of grief, poor life. I will rather say poor life, you see. Tempting to endure and long and hope. Yes, that antique face is assuring her, yes, please bear it. Please bear it. Yearn for something. Be happy. Have hope, you see. Tempting to endure. Don't give up hope. Don't give up your expectation. Even in changing world bereft of peace, in an air racked with sorrow and with fear, and while his feet trod on a soil unseen, he saw the image of a happier state. Ashwapati sees now something different behind the way in which life is present at the moment here. He sees something different behind his life. In an air racked with sorrow and with fear, and while his feet trod on a soil unsafe. Well, the soil is unsafe. Things are constantly changing. Fortunes and misfortunes are there. You don't know what is going to happen next moment. So it is an unsafe place, constantly trod. Now, in an air racked with sorrow and with fear, it is the air which is racked, the ambience, that world which is racked, but not Ashwapati. This rack is not of sorrow and fear, is not for Ashwapati. See, this rack is not for Ashwapati, you see. In an air racked with sorrow and with fear. The air is racked. The whole world is like that. Everything which is going on there is racked with sorrow and with fear. And while his feet trod on and on. So he is not racked, but his feet are treading an unsafe ground. He may slip, he may fall. His feet are, but he is not racked. Here is racked, you see. Rack we have seen now, the instruments of torture which were designed during the time of Inquisition. The instruments of torture, you put a rack on your feet and roll it, crush it. Why? How painful, no? That is how Galileo was treated, you see. He was shown all those instruments of torture and kind of compelled to admit his guilt, you see. Instruments of torture, rack. So rack belongs to the instrument of torture, all those instruments of torture. In an air racked with sorrow and despair, and while his feet trod an unsafe path, he saw the image of a happier state. So that is the quality of the yogi. Yogi does not see superficially, does not see the immediate context. He sees something deeper behind all these things. And he understands the purpose, the meaning, the entire role of all these things in the scheme of things, design, in the plan. He understands that thing. He saw the image of a happier state. In an architecture of hieratic space, hieratic does not mean necessarily here in the sense of holiness or sacredness as understood by religion. As understood by religion. Hieratic here is spiritual, esoteric. Something belongs to the category of the spirit. It is in that sense you have got hieratic space. In an architecture of hieratic space, circling and mounting towards creation storm, going on, that hieratic space is circling, means planes and planes, spiritual planes, one above the other, they are climbing up. Where? Up to the creation top, up to Satchidananda. Creation top, up to Satchidananda. Circling and mounting towards creation top, at a blue height which never was too high, at a blue height which never. Now this hieratic space is circling and climbing up. Now in the world, this whole description is the description of the spiritual space, spiritual mind, spiritual mind. Blue is the color of the mind in that sense, a spiritual mind. At a blue height which never was too high, for warm communion between body and soul. Now you see, although these words communion, hieratic, they belong to the Catholic rituals, but the sense here is spiritual. It is joining of the soul and the body. Hieratic, communion, the holy communion on the mouth of bread and wine, matter and spirit, you see, communion. So although the images of the religious, the words are the religious category, but they have got the spiritual connotation. For warm communion between body and soul, as far as heaven, as near as thought and hope. See, heaven is too far away for us, but as thought is very close to us. See, this is the world of mind, this is the world of spiritual mind, which is there. So it is very close to us, and hope also. As far as heaven, as near as thought and hope, glimmered the kingdom of a griefless life. So until now it was the grief, now he is seeing a griefless life. In the spiritual, in other words, below this blue heaven, below this blue sky and down below, in between is the domain of life, griefless life. In the Sanskrit spiritual terminology, it is antariksha, the world in between matter and mind. Antariksha, mid-world. Antariksha, the sky which is there in between. Antariksha, the sky which is between these two, between matter and spirit, the sky, mind. That is the antariksha, the mid-world. The English equivalent is the mid-world. Glimmered the kingdom of a griefless life. This is what Ashapati is saying, that antariksha.